One question we get asked a lot is, what if I had a previous injury and the accident just made it worse? So like an injury from a year prior to the accident, and then I got in this accident and things just got worse. And do I still have a case? The short answer to that is yes, and there are legal protections in the law that make it so that you can still bring that case. The main thing that we usually talk to clients about, usually in an initial consultation if this comes up, is that, hey, I got in this accident like 2 years ago. What about, can I still bring this case because my injuries are once again to my neck or my low back? And there's something called the eggshell plaintiff rule. And what that means, where it actually came from, is it was a motorcycle accident, probably, I think it was in the 1960s or even before that. But it was a motorcycle accident, and the person who was riding the motorcycle had a helmet on, but they had this weird condition that made it so that their skull was really easily fractured. And so even though they had a helmet on, they got hit and they had a skull fracture, and the insurance company was like, well, you can't do that. I mean, anybody else, this wouldn't have been a problem. But this guy just had this weird medical condition that made it so that he had an eggshell skull, basically. And so that's where the eggshell plaintiff rule comes from. And what the court said in that case was, you take the plaintiff as you find him. So if he has an eggshell skull and it gets fractured, you take the plaintiff as you find him. You guys caused this accident, it's your fault, and so you get to pay for this skull fracture, even though, 99 other people or 999 other people would never have had a skull fracture. And so if you have a prior injury, if it's aggravated, then that the person who hurt you is still going to be on the hook for that aggravation. Now, where a problem can come in is proving that. And so it's very important that hopefully in the prior injury that was well documented, if there were x-rays or MRIs, so that we can show kind of what the injury was prior, and then we hope that in this accident or after this accident during your treatment, we can do additional imaging, x-rays, MRIs, CTs, that will show, hey, this is how it was before, and now this is what it's like now. And then the other thing that we would want to do is talk to experts. If the doctor that treated you in the first accident is still around, if you haven't moved anywhere, if it's, if you had your prior injury in Davis County, Utah, and now you're still in Davis County, Utah, so we can go to the doctor from the before injury and try to differentiate between, where were you then and where are you now? Another thing that's great is if we can say, hey, you know what? They had this injury, they had treatment, it got better, and things were good. And then now 2 years later, we get in this second accident, and now we've got problems again. And so there are a lot of ways that we can show the insurance company that your prior injury was aggravated now in this second accident, and now they get to pay for the aggravation to the injury. So of course, insurance companies are always going to argue that, hey man, it was from that prior injury, and we shouldn't have to pay for this because it was the prior injury. And so that's really where proper documentation comes in, and that's why having an attorney is especially important. So if don't let a prior injury keep you from trying to get compensation for a subsequent car wreck injury or other injury, because there are ways that we can prove that the prior injury was aggravated and that there was still causation, that it was caused by whatever the defendant did to you, and we'd still get you the compensation you deserve. If you were injured in an accident and it wasn't your fault, the law protects you still, even if if there was a prior accident, and so we can still help you in the event of prior accident and then secondary accident later.